Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, August 29th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading or just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarification points. Number one, this price you see right there will be moving around, and the candlestick you see will also be moving around. That is because the market is still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame for all these, meaning that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, ticker symbol DRUG. Been covering this one over the past several videos. And this is somewhat of a tricky chart to talk about. In fact, let me just get rid of these lines here. And the reason why it's tricky is, well, it's all about your perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there, or you bought right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well, then from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad. Because yeah, there's been a big pullback today. However, taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture point of view, so if you care about more so the grand scheme of it all, then even with this big pullback here, and I'm just going to use that green line there that I talked about previously, but let's say the price actually goes down and sits right at that level. What do you still have? Again, emphasis on big picture. Well, you'd have a set of lows there, you'd have lows there, you'd have lows there, you'd have lows down here, and if you envision each one of those as stair-steps, you'd still have stair-steps making progress in the upwards direction. Again, I fully understand that if you bought up there, you definitely don't care about these stair-steps, but that's why I'm trying to make the big distinction between, some sort of day trader and somebody that cares about more so the bigger picture point of view. So no doubt about it, very rough pullback today. However, it is still building those higher stair steps. So that's going to dictate, like I said, your ultimate kind of outlook at the chart as it sits right now. Next, NERV, and very, very nice movement today. One of the few that is green, as if you're not aware, the market's getting crushed today. But as I speak right now, you can see the last 30 minutes is actually in breakout mode right now. And what do I mean by that? Well, you can see right here that basically all afternoon in fact, I'll just draw it like this, make it easier to see, but we need that red line there. But all afternoon, we had what is known as a bull pennant formed. And then you can see, like I said, as I speak, the bull pennant is now being broken, which leads to the valuable question of, okay, is this the start of a much bigger breakout? Now think about that question. You can't ask that question until something worthwhile happens to begin with. And something worthwhile has happened via the breakout. Now, to be fair, maybe it's not the start of anything bigger. Maybe this thing all of a sudden just decides to roll right back over and go to where it was. But again, that is a two-sided coin because, well, maybe it is the start of something bigger, and this thing just keeps ripping and roaring next week. And that's the idea of a watch list, to find unique, to find interesting situations, and not just rush out and buy anything, but watch it and see how the price ultimately behaves and whether or not it fits into your personal risk tolerance and trading strategy. But all in all, no doubt about it, a very interesting situation because of this trendline break. So let's see if this is indeed a start of a bigger breakout next week. Next one, SQQQ. This is an ETF where if you believe that the NASDAQ is going to drop, then you could buy this one because this one will go up. So very popular one. Talked about this a couple of days ago. And the main breakout area that I was talking about was that red line there, the $40 mark. And yeah, you can see today, price came up here, broke through that level, which it just shows how impressive today was because it had already made a big move before breaking above that level, came down there, slight little back test, and then it's continued to grind and grind. And as I speak, last 30 minutes, you can see that this thing continues to push higher and higher on the day. So huge move here. And yes, the reason why this one is going up is because the NASDAQ, along with the overall markets, have been just completely demolished today. And as I mentioned, that $40 mark was a key area. And yeah, the chart once again has delivered and, a big breakout from that area, which actually, let me get this updated. This will now become a level of support just based on a foundational rule in charting when levels of resistance are broken and closed above. You want to see them act as support. So keep a close eye on $40. In terms of next levels of resistance, I realize I'm having to squeeze down the chart here quite a bit. Makes it a bit hard to see, but this just goes to show that it's been a while since the price has been up this high. Next key level of resistance right up there at $42.50. But yeah, all in all, SQQQ, big mover today. Next, AMC, and I'm in this trend line here, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but I've been talking about this trend line for the past several days, and yeah, it has once again become a thorn in the side of the chart. You can see earlier today, that general area got rejected back down, so that has proven to be a very, very important level. And really, any sort of bounce at all, I would be very, very skeptical of until the price can at least break down through or break up above that level. So once again, yeah, I'll give credit where credit's due. The price did start to bounce today, put in a couple of higher lows, which is fantastic. but this has done it before. You can see a couple times there, higher lows only to fail to the downside. Does not mean that this one will for sure fail to the downside. I'm just saying I would be skeptical because yes, you are. It is true that this thing has put in some higher lows, but it's done it before, so I wouldn't go and throw your kids' college tuition money into this one just because it's putting some higher lows, because this trend line has proven now multiple times that it is a force to be reckoned with. So you're going to want to continue to watch that trend line. But you also got to think that probably a lot of other people are watching that trend line. So while there are no guarantees, it does bring about the plausible conclusion that, okay, if the price does come up here and break through there, a lot of other people might just start buying because that trend line's finally been broken. So self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It's valid to think that that could potentially be created via that upwards movement right there. But yeah, as of now, a little bit of a nice bounce here, but I'd still be very skeptical of it. Next one, OLB. And on that topic of self-fulfilling prophecies, I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to press you. I'm not trying to imply this is a greater secret discovery on my part. A lot of people have noticed this area right up here at, let's just call it the $1.95 mark. So you got to think that with so many eyeballs watching this general resistance, that if the price comes up here, it's at least a plausible, conclusion to say, if that breaks, I think this thing is going to pick up that much more momentum. As I was just saying, no guarantees, but that's certainly a logical outcome where nobody could accuse you of saying, why would you do that? You're just acting randomly. No, by no means. I mean, $1.95, that would be a pattern breakout, which is how I want to finish up the analysis here. So we have support, we have resistance, we have the big momentum move right here. Let's put our golf hole down there to make it more visual, and this would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So if you like to play bull pennants, then you definitely have one right here, especially if you like to play stocks down below $5. Real quick, wanted to take a quick break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online training that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to help build consistency as a trader, then certainly get signed up for the free training. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying what you've seen, then certainly get signed up for the free training. Next one, UVXY, and this is another one of these ETFs where when markets start to get fearful, this thing is going to go up. And, based on today's movement, markets definitely got way more fearful today, hence the big move up. And from the technical point of view, is now sitting at some very interesting levels. Let me squeeze this down. Whoops, I didn't need to go that far back. But yeah, the interesting level here that has come into play is this general area right here at $10.40. Generally speaking, if you go through the chart, you can see presented a problem right there, hit it directly, presented a problem. Today went slightly above it during the last 30 minutes. It is now falling back below it. So you're going to have a whole lot of people watching the level. You're going to have some people saying, well, it's fallen down every single time previously when that's gotten down there, and now it's looking like it might want to fall down again. So there's going to be some people that are kind of bearish on this dynamic, and I completely see what they're saying. Other people are going to say, no, I think this is just a temporary pause. I think that there could be a further breakout to the upside, and I also see what those people are thinking. But that's why risk management is so important, because somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to go wrong or be wrong. But circling back to the whole philosophy of a watch list, our goal is to find interesting situations. And yeah, when you have this amount of volume pouring in and price movement essentially going straight up, that is certainly a very interesting situation and one that's worth at least keeping an eye on. Next one, NVDA, and this will mean a tad more to those who watched yesterday's video because I put that trend line into play there, and the price was trying to break out of it, but I mean the power of charts. Look at how that trend line beautifully forecasted that problem point. Now, did the trend line forecast this massive collapse? No, of course not. I'm not trying to imply that. But from a technical point of view, not very shocking at all to see that the price, ultimately did get rejected from that area. But again, rejected and then crashed. No, nothing's going to tell you that. But yes, NVIDIA absolutely destroyed today. So a lot of updates need to be made here. First key update is just going to be mainly the main area of resistance if there is any sort of bounces, which comes from the fact that this 168 mark was a former area of support, but as I mentioned, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So moving forward, if there is any sort of attempted consolidation and then turnaround, 168 is going to be that first kind of question mark of, okay, that's great that the price is bounced, but is this bounce strong enough to even be able to get above 168? So watch that level. And then as far as areas of resistance, once again, having to go back quite a bit of ways into the chart's history because it has been a long time. Oh, wow, the price even broke through that level. Okay. So next key area of support to watch closely, right down there at $160. But yeah, all in all, not a good day for NVIDIA. Next one, FTCH, and one of the few green stocks out there today. and in doing so has formed a good solid pattern. So going back to the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, I assure you a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there. They're going to be watching that. And then as far as the rest of the pattern is concerned, a couple different ways you could watch it, or draw it. But the overall idea here is going to be that breakout trend line. So let me get that changed to green. And, despite however you draw that bottom trend line, the main dynamic is there's a big move up. There's a nice little wedge right here. And because it occurred, within a big momentum movement, let's put our golf ball down here. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So no guarantees, but is it valid? Is it plausible to think that if the price comes up to that level and can get a break up through it, that break in and of itself will create good, solid upwards buying pressure? That is certainly not a guaranteed conclusion, but it's a more than rational and plausible conclusion to reach. So if you like to play those bull pennants, you like to play stocks that are a little bit more than a couple dollars, here you go. Next one, TSLA Tesla. And overall, some levels came into play here that were talked about previously. Main level here, that trend line there, which I talked about as, I was kind of questioning, I don't know if it'll really even come into play today, but it did come into play. That second 30 minutes, big move upwards. And again, if you don't believe me, if you don't think I had that trend line there, I'm not offended. I understand I could be a total stranger to you. Just go back, watch the video from yesterday, and you'll see that I mapped out that line. And check it out. The power of charts. So another quick plug, get signed up for the free training. I mean, charts, they're not perfect. Nothing is perfect, but they certainly, can really help out within trading and formulating trade plans. But right there, came up to that line, got rejected, and back down it went. And not only, how rough was it? Well, it came down to that support and then broke down below the support at 292, which now makes this a level of resistance. And you can see that played out as you would expect, broke above it. Price back tested it a few times before carrying on back to the downside. So now you have, several different resistances as far as levels of support are concerned. Let's see. Let me get this behind from my ugly mug. There we go. Next level of support will now be down there right around 286.25. So 286.25 next key level to watch from a support side of things. But like a lot of the stocks out there today, absolutely crushed. Next one, PLTR. And yeah, today was a bad day because it was red, but the one thing that, I'd say, makes it just extra bad was this thing did start to build itself a nice little uptrend. Whether you want to draw the trend line like that, I think that's probably the more accurate one. But point being, however you draw that, the fact of the matter is this price did start to get some momentum. It got up above that purple line there, which is another sign of momentum. And then today, though, came back down. So again, today, I wouldn't say it was bad because it was red, but came down there and not just slightly broke below the trend line, but just got smashed below it. And not only did it break below the trend line, also broke down below that purple line there. So just from a technical point of view, a very rough day. And now it's a question of, how much further is this thing going to sink? Because as you can see here, it has not been down at these levels for a very long time. And I realize I guess I didn't need to go back that far back, but there we go. But the next key level of support to keep an eye on, now going to be down there right around $7.60. So $7.60. So it's basically in kind of a little miniature free fall mode right now until it gets down to that level, which you can see previously does have quite a good track record of providing support. But yeah, all in all, PLTR, very rough way to end the week. So that wraps up the top 10. If you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, like I said, definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, September 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, then do two things for me. Hit that like button and leave a comment. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching next week. But hitting the like button and then let me know what you're watching for next week. Those two things go a long way, and I really do appreciate it. So again, get signed up for that training next week. Everybody take care and have a great weekend.